Hello, hello. It's Big Cheds. I'm coming to you on a Monday, August 15th, 2022. This is a replay of a conversation I did on Twitter, one of my Spaces conversations from 2 days ago. And what I've decided to do is upload these conversations to my YouTube channel for safekeeping. Just to remind everyone, you can find me on Twitter, of course, at Big Cheds. I am the author of Trading Wisdom, 50 Lessons Every Trader Should Know. That's available right now on Amazon, Kindle, hardcover, audiobook, and paperback. I do have a free version on my YouTube channel where you are now. Please hit subscribe. Check out that playlist for Trading Wisdom. Check out the Twitter Spaces where I put all these excellent conversations. They're really great. I love hearing from you folks. You really never know what people are going to ask, and it just leads to a great conversation. So check out that playlist. Check out my long form interview series. I just had a great interview with Peter Brandt, which is epic. Tutorial masterclass webinars. This is where you want to go to get started learning how to trade. And of course, quick market updates where I will periodically update people on some of my tweets and what's happened with the Bitcoin price action kind of in the interim. So in any case, this is, as I said, a Twitter Spaces conversation. I'm going to go ahead and hit the play button and you'll be able to hear it. You can ask questions. I may or may not be able to get to them, but you can chat with the other folks as well in the chat room. But anyway, folks, thank you. I hope you enjoy this, and I will talk to you probably right at the end. All right? Thank you, everybody. Just give me a few moments to get things set up here. If you're listening on the replay, thank you for coming. I'm just going to add a tweet to the Spaces right now. YouTube. One more moment, folks. We're going to do an Ask Me Anything market update today. Let's see. I'm just looking for a certain tweet. One moment, folks. Where is it? Here we go. All right, thank you. So what we're going to do here on this fine Saturday afternoon, we're going to do kind of a casual conversation. I just want to hear from you. I like bringing on you folks and hearing from you personally. On Twitter, it's just a few words. It's hard to really get the full context of your thoughts and to have a conversation. So that's what we're doing here today. I'm going to bring you up a few people at a time, and then I will ask you to just wait until I call your name. And that way we can keep the conversation going. I'll bring up a few of you at a time. I would like you to request to speak. Don't be shy. Any questions? No questions are dumb. Just step right up, and I really want to hear from you folks today. I am Big Cheds, at Big Cheds on Twitter. Please consider following me on Twitter. I'm on YouTube at Cheds Trading. I have tons of educational material, free alpha learning materials for you on YouTube. I am, of course, the author of Trading Wisdom, 50 Lessons Every Trader Should Know. I want to thank everyone for their support. That book has done really well. I have a free version of that book on my YouTube channel. Check out that playlist as well. And of course, I am a founding analyst at Bitcoin Live. Bitcoin Live is the best in class educational platform for crypto. We have a world-class team. What I personally do is twice a week, long form, full market update, rain or shine. You hear from me twice a week, my thoughts on the market. I'm really proud of what we do there. So in any case, it's Saturday, 13th of August, 2022. This is a recorded space. I will upload this as well to my YouTube channel just to save it for the future, because we really do have some great conversations here. So please go ahead and ask to speak. Looks like we have a guest. Nakamoto Lisk is in here as well. I'm going to invite him up. And, Naka can take some questions as well. He adds a really nice perspective. So I'm going to bring him into the conversation. Well, let's start with that. Naka, how you doing today, buddy? What's going on?
I'm not doing good, man. I'm not doing good.
What is this? What is this? Therapy hour? What are we doing here? You're not doing good.
Therapy hour. Yeah, I mean, I was basically right about the market and got fudded out of it, so I'm not feeling good about myself. But it is what it is. It is what it is. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm chilling at the lake, and just a little quiet time by the water. And I'm talking to my friends on the internet, so I'm doing pretty good. You know what I'm saying?
Sweet man.
So listen, oh, by the way, I noticed you haven't followed me on your new account yet. I took that personally. So I know you got like banned or unbanned or
Oh
some.
shit, yeah, that was so bad. I posted that I wanted to and I'm not even sure if you're allowed to say this in Twitter Spaces
Well,
without getting
I had some strong feelings towards economists. Is
I
that
had
right?
some strong feelings towards macroeconomists, some very strong negative feelings, and I expressed that, that I wanted to, KILL a macro.
Love them. You want to love them to death. Yeah.
Love them to death, and Twitter just like permabanned me for it.
Uh,
From by some kind of, I think they have bots for this kind of thing now,
yeah.
and obviously that's not a serious suggestion, right?
Yeah.
It's a joke, but yeah, I actually genuinely got banned and had to like email Twitter, and thank God somebody actually answered it. But
Good.
it is what it is.
All right. Well, let's get the conversation started. Good to have you. As always, you don't have to, you don't have to jump in on every question, but if you want to, just jump in kind of when the time is right. I'm going to bring up a few of you at a time. Again, please wait until I call you. I see some old faces. Let's get those out of the way because I know you folks are really, really wanting to talk. So I'll get you up. We'll get this out of the way first. Jay, why don't you go first, Jay? We have you up here first. J.R. Brown, what's going on? J.R. B-Town, what's cracking, buddy? JR, we don't hear you, by the way. Folks, you need to make sure Twitter has access to your microphone. JR, why don't you hang out for a second and get your audio figured out? Let's see. The Positive Wick, it's your turn to speak. What would you like to say today?
Hey, Chad, thanks for picking me. I follow you on Twitter. I bought your book, and I love your dance moves and your general positive vibe, as well as your educational content. So thank you very much for that.
Well, thank you.
So just a little question for you. I've been quite excited by the idea of levels that you talk about and have somewhat taken advantage of that with this last rally. My question to you would be, given ETH 2.0 is round the corner, do you feel a push to what I'm looking at a fib level of about 2718 is possible?
Bitcoin or Ethereum? What are we talking about? BTC or Ethereum?
Ethereum now, looking at a point of about 2718, maybe as a push, or
what price does that correspond to?
So it corresponds to, if you draw a fib to the low point, let's consider the low point of Ethereum being that 800,
Okay.
and then do what's necessary. And you find a level around about 2718, I think.
But what's the price level? I'm looking at the price, brother. What price are you talking about? Would that be?
This is the price of Ethereum. So I'm just looking at, it's kind of, I feel like it's going to chop a little bit at this point.
Oh, like 2,700, you're saying?
Yeah, 2,700, that kind of area.
Oh, I didn't know if you were doing like, isn't that like an extension level, a fib level? Isn't like 261 an extension or something? I thought you were, anyway, okay. Yeah, 2,700. I mean, but that's above the daily MA200. You can't just skip over that, right?
Yeah, I'm talking for the target maybe for the next 3 to 4 weeks.
Sure. Ethereum's really bullish right now. It's definitely, I think in Ethereum, I feel like Bitcoin probably should have already faltered and continued the downtrend, but I think Ethereum is definitely holding it up. You can even see the bear divergence in Bitcoin. Like the chart looks, even though we're still got higher lows, still looks a little bit sick to me. But Ethereum, it does not. Ethereum is strong, and it's also kind of paved the way for some really nice altcoin moves. It's got 18, 19, 17, 1800 level. It's kind of chewing through that, and it did that, which is really nice. Now we're pushing 2K. Yeah, I could see 2500 maybe before the merge, possibly 24, 2500. Yeah, I mean, but this is a fast moving situation, and we've already had such an amazing move off the bottom. So I would say let's not get too greedy here. As we approach this big date, it's really already made like a pretty sick move, off of the bottom. So, let's say you do believe 2,700. Don't get caught, with your pants down if there's a strong reversal at 24.25. You know what I'm saying?
It's so exciting to get carried away. So maybe if people talk about this being a bear market rally, this could be the end of it potentially, and then we'll see.
Oh, sure. It's definitely a bear market rally, but it's just a really nice one. It's a really, really nice one. I mean, Bitcoin's still below the daily 200. It needs to flip that. It needs to flip 28K before we can consider it, being like a bull market again. So, it's been a beautiful move, but I think caution's still in order until we do a few more things. So that's my opinion on that.
Yeah, I just got one other thing on that.
Yeah.
It seems like Ethereum's reached the chop faster than Bitcoin has. Bitcoin's still got some space to go into that chop. So I'm intrigued about that ratio. What might happen there with that flip?
What are you talking about? Like the flippening or whatever? Like market cap
No,
flippening?
no. What I mean is that if you look at the chart, Bitcoin seems like it's got more space to grow into naturally.
Yeah, what, up to 28K, you mean, maybe? Is that what you're kind of looking at?
Yeah. It just looks like it's got clearer skies, and Ethereum's found itself in this chop, which looks like will be chop. I'm just interested to see as Bitcoin accelerates towards that natural level, how it will slingshot Ethereum.
I don't think Bitcoin's going to slingshot Ethereum. I think Ethereum has already slingshot Bitcoin.
Okay.
That's the way I see it. I mean, I'm not saying, that's just what I feel. Maybe I'm wrong, but no, I don't think Bitcoin's not going to be moving Ethereum. The whole market is being held up by Ethereum right now. So I don't see Bitcoin, slingshotting Ethereum. I don't think that's the right way to think about it.
Okay, thanks.
All right, brother. Thank you for stepping up.
Thanks for having me.
Hey, thanks to you, folks. Please ask to speak. We'd love to hear from you. I'm probably going to do this for at least an hour. Last time I did a Spaces, I got to every single person who wanted to speak. So that means if you're listening now and you want to ask me a question and you want to have a conversation, hit request. I will bring you in. Crypto Boat, it's your turn. You're a frequent guest. What's up, Crypto Boat? What would you like to say?
Hey, how you doing, Chad?
Yo.
Yeah, I just wanted to follow up with our conversation on Twitter.
Okay.
I wanted to find out what I saw on the 4 hour.
Yeah.
If it's legit, and if next time, if I see the same thing, if I can go in for a trade after maybe I check like a price action on the lower time frame, let's say 30 minutes, or with the 4 hour though in mind.
So what's your question? What did you see in the 4 hour? There was no inside bar that I saw that you were talking about.
Oh, so you didn't see that, right?
Well, what bar? You have to tell me the bar. I mean, the last inside, we just had one that we just completed, but that was after we spoke.
No, I'm talking about the 4 hour, the one that closed. I think it was 4 a.m. Eastern time.
Just tell me the price. We gotta let's
okay.
Just tell me the price, brother.
Yeah. It closed 24,540.
24. This is just what, 3 candles ago?
Yeah,
That's not an inside bar. It has the wick. The high of that candle is higher than the previous candle.
Oh, okay.
You got an inside bar, right? We talked about this. I asked if you read my book or you'd Googled it. An inside bar means the entire range of the candle is inside the prior candle.
Oh, okay.
All right, brother.
So there shouldn't be any wicks.
Well, whether it should be or not, it's just not an inside bar. So.
Okay.
And those things are all contextual. I mean, if you think about and it's a great question, great topic. Thank you. And if you think about like a bull pennant, right? Say the price moves up really drastically. And it does a bull pennant, like a symmetrical triangle after a big advance, you'll see multiple inside bars, but it's not bearish. It's just getting tightening range, and then it usually breaks and continues in the direction of the trend. So that's what I thought, my friend, when we had that conversation. I thought that you weren't really understanding the definition of that. So in any case, great topic. Check my Crypto Boat. Go to my YouTube channel and watch the Masterclass TA webinar playlist. It really explains all that stuff. So next we have, let's see, Tasty Curry. What would you like to say, Tasty Curry?
Hi, Chad. Thanks for having me.
Yo.
I just had a question. If you see a small pullback to like the 24K range for Bitcoin, or like high 23s.
Well, yeah, I mean, we're in a situation where that's certainly on the table. I don't know where I would necessarily assign that on a probability scale, but it's definitely on the table. And the reason it's on the table is we've been channeling in such a way that we've made a nice charge towards the upper Bollinger Band, had a little bit of weakness, and then we've come back and we've created a higher low. We've been doing that for a while now. So bears have that argument. They're kind of building higher support. But we're in a situation now, though, with this recent upthrust, and we're now still trading within the shadow of the Gravestone Doji on August 11th. And that Gravestone Doji created an upthrust, which is a short-term momentum reversal signal. It's, day traders are watching that. So shorts were opened on that upthrust on that Gravestone Doji. So now we're on essentially higher low watch. We're watching to see either do we put in a new higher low or do we test the most recent higher low, and the most recent higher low is right around, I would say right around 22.4, right? The higher low from August 4th. So you could very reasonably go back and test that August 4th, 23.4K level or 22.4K level and bounce from it and still be really bullish and still continue to maintain that support, right? That level is important as well because that's the high from July 8th. Right? We eventually broke that high and then turned it into support. So, do I see it going there? It's certainly on the cards because that's the lower boundary of the trading channel that we're in right now. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, that's perfect.
All right, sweet. I got Stock Trader XO in the room. Just want to send some love to my man Trader XO who's hanging out there with the Squid Game custom profile picture. All right, thanks for stepping up with the question, Tasted Curry. Thank you, man. Next up, we have Tommy. You've been patient. Tommy, what would you like to say?
Hey, how you doing, Chaz?
I'm doing well, man. How are you doing out there?
I'm doing great. So I do want to talk about that August 11th Gravestone Doji.
Yeah.
Okay, so based off of like just Japanese candlestick theory.
Never heard of
it. All right, so we had the Gravestone Doji on the 11th. Price moved up.
Yeah.
And anywhere in that candle is a good short entry, correct?
And well, there's gradations. There's gradations to that. So if you think about Japanese candlestick theory, I write about this in Trading Wisdom.
Yes. Yeah. Okay.
Go ahead. No. Go ahead. What are you gonna say?
Okay. Well, so I'm at I shorted at 24.6 is
okay.
I don't know. And then I
put my stop loss. What was it based on? What was it based on? Like what time frame and?
It was based off the book, Steve Nissen's book.
No, but like on the chart though, were you shorting based on like a daily upthrust? Was it like a 4-hour something? I'm curious.
I was looking at like a 1 hour chart, and it was just kind of momentum.
Okay.
And then I put my stop loss above the August 11th wick.
Okay.
At like 25K. Is that what you would do? Where would you put your stop loss?
That's reasonable. Well, yes, you're almost there. I would have defined it a little bit more cleaner when you said momentum, but I think you're on the right track. So a couple things. If I was shorting, and I'm not saying I am or not, but I may be, it would have been on the upthrust, which is when the price broke over the July 30th high, and then it kind of came back below it. That's a momentum reversal, clue. It doesn't mean it's a durable clue or it's going to last, but it's something. It gives you like a price structure. It gives you a trade structure because you can say, well, now I'm short, as long as the price stays above that level. That's number one. So that was, but when your idea fail, yes, you have a good level there above the top of the Doji 25K.
Exactly.
I don't know if you saw my tweet last night where I discussed the Doji before bed. I went for me before bed. I'm in Eastern USA, but I put out.
I'm in Asia, bro.
Oh, word! What's happening over there?
I'm in Thailand, bro.
Oh, I heard that marijuana is legal there now, right?
Yeah. I live in Thailand.
You sounds like you're having an okay time, and that's great. That's great.
No, but this is my life, bro. This is my life. So I'm like, I love everything. Yeah, keep going. What were you saying?
Keep that attitude. This is the only life we have. This is it. So, I put out a tweet last night, and I said, so I had referenced how on the daily chart the price bounced off the daily EMA 8, which you just watched.
I saw it. Yeah, I saw it, and I have that's my target for my short.
Smart. Yeah, it's good. It's a really smart, clean, tight trade. So what I said was, off the EMA 8 into a gravestone doji, and I said, here's the point I should have made like 5 minutes ago before we got off topic. The best entries often come from the retest of the lower range of a candlestick reversal signal. So like a hammer candle, if you go long, when the hammer candle completes, you're like, a lot of the move has already happened. A lot of time will come and retest the middle to the lower part of that range.
That's what I'm saying.
But with the doji though, it's not always. There's gradations of entries. So whether you're entering at the middle of the doji or near the top is a different entry. Right, one's better than the other. So you see what I'm saying? So it's not anywhere in the wick. With the gravestone dojis, higher, the higher the better.
In the wick, where would you have shorted it?
I would have, if I was missed and I was using that for a retest or a pullback, a bearish retest, I would have waited till at least the midpoint of the candle wick.
So like 24.5 or something.
Yeah, roughly like that. And what I said last night was, basically I was saying, listen, there's a decent chance we're going to retest this wick we just made, and we like literally did it overnight.
We did it, dude. I saw it.
And then we rejected. And so it's not like this is like nuclear science.
This shit is verbatim, bro. It's literally fucking easy.
This is right out of a textbook. I know. So,
I know, bro. Exactly.
So,
also,
we'll see though. Bulls could very easily push through, and because they have a little bit of momentum right now, especially with Ethereum.
But the great thing is the stop loss. There's like the risk to reward is like on point.
I love your trade. I love that trade. Yeah.
Also, Steve Nissen books. He has written a lot of books. Do you like all the books, or do you just like that one book?
I've only read 2 of them. I read the yellow and the red book.
Because he has many books.
Yeah, I've only read 2 books. The red book was like another candlestick book. Had more like a little bit more advanced and more obscure stuff. You really only need to read the first book because you want to read that. Then you want to read some classical charting. Like you need to get a little bit of all disciplines, and especially Eastern and Western TA. You have to see where they agree, where they disagree, how they talk about things, and then kind of make your own style. So I wouldn't just read candlestick books. I would just read the yellow book, and then I would learn other stuff. That's my opinion. All right.
All right, dude. You're so dope. Thanks, Chaz. I appreciate it, man.
Hey, all the best. Enjoy that life, man. All the best to you. Let's see. Who would like to speak? Let's get a few more. I'm going to put you in the on-deck circle. I am Big Cheds. I have my friend Nakamoto Lisk as well hanging out. If you folks want to ask any kind of macro stuff, I would definitely defer to him on that. Find me on Twitter at Big Cheds, YouTube Cheds Trading. Check out the free version of my book on my YouTube at Cheds Trading. Oran El-Fassi, what would you like to say today? Oran El-Fassi, it's your time to speak.
Thank you very much for having me, Chad. I've been watching you a lot, basically through Crypto Man Run from your shows there. I learned a lot about you, and basically the guy before me, Tasty Curry, actually had all my questions, and I was very happy with it.
Get a new one, brother. Let's get a new question then. I love it.
Basically, I wanted to know, do you see Ethereum going for a retest at the let's say 1964 before keeping? Yeah, it's about 99.
Yeah, I mean it's too hard to. I mean that's basically the same price. So I don't even think it's worth for me to look at it. Like 1960 and 2000. In my opinion, how I'm looking, that's the same price. There's, I mean, I'm not going to pull up a 15-minute chart because the lower time frame you go,
I'm not.
The less
I'm not working on that chart.
Yeah,
I'm not working on that chart. The chart that I was looking at is basically I built it on the 4-hour chart, and I took the wick on the 1656, and I basically made an uptrend. So when it's supposed to touch it around basically right about 19.8 to touch the trend. So I want to know if you
drew a trend line. You do a trend line, but you drew a trend line with really just 2 points on it. So it's not really a trend line.
Yeah, basically it's a 2 point.
Yeah, there's no real point in that. It doesn't really do much for you. That's the kind of stuff we do because we're kind of bored and we're waiting for like the price structure to develop. If you look at Ethereum,
actually,
yeah, of course, right, brother. So a few things. A trend line. The purpose of a trend line is to identify a trend and not a line. right? So it's not, it doesn't matter exactly where you put the wick. You're just generally describing a higher low structure or a lower high structure, right? You know, Bitcoin's got the same thing with Ethereum, where at least on the 4-hour chart, you've got that doji, but it's just really strong. It's really nice, clean 4-hour on Ethereum, holding EMA 8.
Yeah.
Hasn't even tested, you know, the MA 20 here since 1730. You know, Ethereum just has a lot of mojo. I mean, it's riding the upper Bollinger Band. It really doesn't get much better than that.
Okay.
So I wouldn't be shorting Ethereum here. And
No,
I mean,
no,
people
no.
probably think I'm a perma bear. I'm not saying you are. So it's just, I think it's strong. I think you want to buy dips. I think if you get back to 1750, I think that's a strong buy area on Ethereum. If you're looking for like a kind of a low ball bid right now, somewhere you can
Okay.
just kind of set it and forget it, maybe if you want to go out for a few hours or maybe even overnight. But you know, that's how I would look at it. Yeah, it's still got some resistance though, a little bit of resistance. I think it's going to slowly chew through this resistance until it hits the MA 200, and that's the first really big area for me in the daily chart. That's where it was rejected last time in April.
Okay, I'm very very happy with your informed answer. Just a small question: which MAs and EMAs do you recommend me to use, like as much as
Have
I
you seen
can?
my? Yeah, that's a great question. So I actually did a tutorial on this. If you go to my
Okay,
YouTube channel, my
I
YouTube
actually just
channel,
subscribed right now, like a few minutes ago.
wonderful. Well, thank you for doing that. There's a playlist called Masterclass Webinars. There's
Okay.
3 of them. The last one I
hmm
did was in late November after the market top. And I explained everything from volume, candlestick signals, Bollinger Bands, moving averages, support and resistance, really everything you need to kind of just get started. So I think you'll enjoy that, okay?
Okay, and like I said, which EMAs do you recommend to use?
That's my answer. I gave it to you. It's in that.
Oh,
It's
okay,
in
to
the
see that
video.
it's in there. Okay, and
Okay.
just last
I
shout
gotta
out
go,
to
brother. I
Clay.
gotta go, brother. There's too many people. So thank you for
Thank you very
coming
much.
today. Okay.
Thank
I'm gonna keep the conversation moving. I don't want to cut people off, but I'm gonna be fair. Let's see. A CB Spear. What's going on?
Hey, yeah, Ched's
Hi.
huge fan of Bitcoin Live.
Oh,
Um,
sweet.
so I'm a Bitcoin miner. I really only look at Bitcoin, but I pay close attention to the whole space, and you've been
We talked last time,
wonderful.
right?
Yeah. So you mentioned it earlier, but Ethereum has very clearly led the market the
Yeah.
past month or so,
Yeah.
which is very interesting because I've
Yeah.
not really seen that before. And
Yeah.
without commenting on the merge or other issues in the Ethereum ecosystem or DeFi or whatever, what happens if Ethereum's market cap flips Bitcoin's,
Yeah.
hypothetically, and
If
Ethereum begins, because I mean, for the past 10, 13 years, Bitcoin has led the market. What happens if or when Ethereum either operates independently or begins to have its own kind of market lead? What, just comment on market structure. I gotta like write forward-looking statements. I'm a Bitcoin guy, but I
Yep.
want to like couch everything I say and like, well,
Yeah.
conditionally, here's what the next couple of years might look like.
Naka, you have any thoughts on that one? I can riff a little bit, but do you have any kind of opinions on that?
So what's the specific question? Whether you think the flipping is going to happen? That's the question.
No, if it happens, what might it look like, and how might the market structure change? Because right now we've Bitcoin's on the market. What should I, as a Bitcoin miner, maybe look for as the market changes to perhaps being ETH led in some cases, or conditionally or parts of the market be dominated or led by ETH?
I mean, it's hard to say because, you know, the flipping's always going to be a bit messy, right? Whenever it does happen. And one thing I will say is, you know, people, I mean, I know it's a meme, but when people start talking about the flipping, it's usually a time to not be bullish on Ethereum. I mean, eventually that's going to stop. Eventually that's going to stop working, but it's just this massive fire alarm going off in my head. But with you know, having said that, I mean, it's going to be messy, right? Because like, you know, I don't know. I mean, it's a very anticipated event. The market will probably fuck around a lot. Like it'll kind of like inch up to it and then pull back, or you know, it'll do something weird, right? it's just hard to say. And I actually know some people who are, involved with Ethereum dev, and one thing they've said is definitely the merge is unlikely to, sorry, the flippening is unlikely to happen. If it ever does, it's unlikely to happen before the merge goes down successfully. And probably not just the merge, but also the other parts of ETH 2.0. So, sharding, for example, because that's a big risk. So I mean, look, I wish I had a good answer to that.
Yeah, my thought is not specifically the kind of moment that it approaches a flipping or what happens in that month or quarter period, but rather, like, what if a year from now we're sitting here and the flippening has occurred or has maintained the flippening? Like, what might the market structure look like then?
What do you mean by the market structure?
So right now we chart a lot of things versus Bitcoin. I don't know. I don't really know where we've operated in a specific paradigm of Bitcoin-led market for the past 13 years. I'm just trying to imagine various scenarios where ETH leads the market and what I need to pay attention for as I mine Bitcoin.
Let me speak to that now. I mean, ETH leading the market right now, so you kind of have your kind of test case right now, whether it's flipping or not. I mean, I'm not a miner, but like a market participant, I'm a market participant. As long as whatever's trading, if there's volume, if there's action, I can trade it. So I don't care who has the most market cap. Like, I'm not trading a market cap chart. So like, that's not what market participants are doing, right? There's still going to be active markets, so there'll be action. There'll be miners needed to facilitate all these trades and whatever else you folks are doing. So I think you sound like a smart, like kind of a data-driven and observational person. You're racking your brain too much right now about stuff, and you can't even define parameters on what you're kind of looking for. So I would just kind of lay back, let everything play out, and prepare yourself to take advantage of opportunities when they come. And I think you'll do fine.
Okay, thanks a ton, Cheds. Thanks, Nakamoto's, and cheers, guys.
Yeah, sorry, I couldn't be more concrete. Yeah.
No worries. I'll keep asking this question periodically, and I'll get better at asking it.
Feel free to DM me if you want to ask more.
Cool. Thanks, guys.
Fantastic. Thank you. So, folks, please request. I would love to hear from you. We're gonna go lightning round. We're gonna try to get through all of these. Naka may or may not be here, but we have a really great guest, Nakamoto Lisk. You can consider following him on Twitter at Nakamoto Lisk. I'm Big Cheds. Broke boy crypto. What's going on? What would you like to say? Your turn.
What's going on, Cheds? I heard the word sharding earlier. I hope nobody's having incontinence issues today or anything like that. But
yeah,
okay. I wanted to say, so I have a YouTube channel that kind of focuses on minimalism and investing in crypto and trying to attain wealth through, just having a minimalist mindset. And I just want to say and be complimentary to you gentlemen, the traders out there. As a long-term holder more so, it is really easy to get duped when you get into this market by moon boys that may not even have malicious intent, that are just kind of looking at a lot of that on-chain data and talking about, like, there was an announcement about BlackRock launching a spot ETF for BTC now the other day, like looking at long-term stuff and reasons to be bullish on the space and on BTC, which I think is awesome. But it's very easy to get tricked by those people and just think, constantly just number go up. And I just want to say that it's so valuable to find people like you, Cheds, Nakamoto. I saw XO in here earlier, Pentoji, just, certain guys on Twitter that, will share not only just kind of what they're looking at, but just the trading wisdom, as if you will, that you do, Cheds. It's just so much valuable info. And I think it's really important that newer people to the market, even if you're a long-term holder, do follow and pay attention to people like you guys, because it helps us DCA a little bit better, because this market is just way too volatile, I think, to blindly DCA on your own system. And I just thank you guys for that. That's really my only comment, but, shout out, and I love all the stuff you guys do.
That's super kind. Thank you so much. For me, I'm here just because I've survived that process, and I've been, I've a lot of thoughts. First of all, even though I've been bearish, I still, even when I was saying that I still think we're going to go lower, I said, on the other hand, I understand DCAing at the weekly 200. I mean, that's like I'll never tell you that's a bad idea if you're gonna, DCA a long-term uptrend at the weekly 200. So that's just one thing. But I found that people, the more money they have in something, the more convinced they are. And I've been that. I mean, I've blown up several accounts, no doubt. I've rode things to zero because I was convinced it was going to turn around the next day, and that everyone who was telling me I was, it wasn't, was secretly being paid, to FUD it or whatever. On chain's new. I mean, it's just data. So I think it's not. It's like it's the humans. It's not the on chain. It's just data. It's like what you do with it. That's really new. That's still developing. With a trend, the price is the price, and we all kind of apply that in different ways. And I've often said a true chart technician can articulate both the bullish and bearish thesis. So if I'm really heavy in one position, I see myself starting to kind of read one way rather than other. So we're just human. It's understandable. It's easy to get tricked because we want to believe things. People spend more time in chat rooms than looking at the chart because they want to have their worries soothed, and they just want to, So I get it. I think it's forgivable, and hopefully we can have smaller positions so we can survive kind of when our bets go wrong.
Right. Well, I appreciate all you do, man. Thanks so much for hosting these.
Thanks, dude. Thank you so much. I'm going to do a quick reset here before I move on to the next guest. I'm Big Cheds on Twitter. I'm the author of Trading Wisdom. You can find that book for free on my YouTube channel, Cheds Trading. I have educational videos, long form interview series. I actually upload these spaces, these kind of cool casual conversations. Check that out. I'm also one of the founding analysts at Bitcoin Live, a best in class educational platform for crypto, world-class team. Really proud of that. Check out all the information on my Twitter page. Anyway, I'd love to hear from you. I want you to step up. Don't be afraid to ask a question. Make sure Twitter has access to your microphone. When I bring you up to speak, please wait until I call your name, and we're going to get through everybody. Next up, we have Mohammed Booty. Mohammed, what's going on?
Hey, how are you, Chet? Thanks for bringing me up again.
Sure. How's it going?
Hey, not bad. The question that I have is actually when the Bitcoin is on uncertain way, or we see in the couple of days the Bitcoin just rejecting on 2024, or we see the Doji, these things. But at the same time, some altcoins looking good for longs. I want to know about your setup. Whenever we see some altcoin is looking good, but the correlation between the altcoins, if Bitcoin just crash or dump, so we know the altcoin will follow immediately or even more faster.
Yeah, it's a great subject. It's a great topic. Yeah. So people ask about this. So here's the thing. Yes, I mean, you need to understand what Bitcoin's doing, but you're not. But if you're trading SOL, you're not trading the Bitcoin chart. You're trading SOL. You have whatever, or AVAX, or QNT. Like, you have to, no matter. Yes, you want to be aware of what Bitcoin's doing, but no matter what, all that matters with your trade is defining your idea. I'm long because the price is above 100, and then defining when the idea fails. I get out when the price drops below 100. Like, that's going to happen regardless of what Bitcoin is doing, because you have the concept of relative strength, relative weakness. Where generally speaking, these charts will all move in a similar arc, but you have sometimes more strength or more weakness with other ones, and you can take advantage of that. So you're just going to play whatever chart you're playing. So don't get distracted by what Bitcoin's doing. Be laser focused on the chart that you're attempting to profit from.
Actually, I had some longs, but when I saw the Bitcoin daily close like a doji, then I just closed my long. Those who had some good strain to the market.
Depends. Are you swinging them? Are these long-term positions, or just you're holding for one day? Because this Bitcoin gravestone doji could be invalidated in 1 or 2 days. Like, very quickly. It wouldn't. It's not like it's at least 50. I think probably 50%. It's so you have to. Yeah, it sounds fine, but you're being really conservative as well. You're also being very conservative, very careful.
When Bitcoin start dumping, so I'll lose the value immediately, like 10%, 5%, 9%.
Right. Cool.
And it just happen in second. I just want to know the setup that you use normally for this situation.
I'll tell you what I do. I don't. I will never. I will not. I almost never will do that. What you just did, just because I'm just practiced that I've already set my stop loss on the chart,
and you
but Yeah, I'm trading a different chart. I'm short on the Euro USD right now. Right? Like I'm not gonna. Well, that's bad. Poor example. Like let's say I had a like a short on ADA, or let's say a long on ADA. I'm not gonna close it because Bitcoin's doing something. Like I just trade a chart and I just laser focus on that, and it's easier for me because otherwise there's too much going on. All right.
Yeah, that was
Thanks,
awesome.
buddy.
You're welcome. Thank you.
That's great. Look, that's a great question. Trading's really hard. We all do it different ways. Annie, it's your turn to speak. Annie Critchlow, what would you like to say?
Yeah, hey Chad, thanks for accepting my request. I recently just subscribed to your YouTube channel. Great content you have there. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. So my question is, how long do you think Bitcoin is gonna, take to get back to $60K?
60K.
I mean, yeah, because
that's a
actually
I think it's going to be about 2 or 3 weeks. So just
right.
Max long, Annie. Max long. Got the laser eyes already. If you can find 100x leverage, you should use that. But 50x will do pretty well as well.
He's for folks. He's being funny. He's a good dude, very smart. And he's basically saying don't do that because it will probably get there at some point, but it's hard to predict. That's like first act in the movie predicting like the ending will be. I mean, there's so much that has to happen at this point. Look, we are still I think you have to look at the daily chart and think about what happened to Bitcoin in November. We topped off. Everyone knows that. We tried to bottom a little bit at 50K and that failed. We fell further. And then eventually we recaptured the daily EMA 34 at the beginning of February. It was the first time it did that. So that was also notable for Bitcoin here, as Bitcoin's been doing this relief rally, 17K, 18, 19, 20, 21, 20, all the way up. Closing above the daily EMA 34 set us in kind of a sideways chop mode. I talked to Naka about this on a Spaces, I don't know, a month ago or whenever it was. And so we've been doing that. And the last time we did it in February, we bounced and broke out and boom, got rejected MA 200. It was like ready to go back to 60K, right? But then the MA 200 stepped in. So with this relief rally, it could still do that. And that's about 2 or 3 checkpoints down the road in this relief rally. And that would be the final checkpoint, is clearing that daily MA 200. So to start thinking about 60K, you kind of have to do that first. So you have to be level by level, right? In the meantime, the weekly still hasn't closed above the weekly EMA 8 yet. Since November, exponential moving average, it means it's more sensitive to short-term price movement. What does that mean? What am I saying? Since November, the average price over 8 weeks weighted towards the most recent price action, it hasn't been able to close above that 8 level. It's only done that 3 times since November, 3 weeks since November. We still haven't done it yet. So we're still watching that. And what that means is on a larger time frame, when you look at it, it's still just a pendulum swing kind of back towards the mean, right? Back towards the middle. And and then it can continue back in the other direction. So it's still got a couple more checkpoints. You can't really think about 60K, right? I mean, I don't think that's helpful because first of all, there's no way to really map it out at this point. I think you have to focus on what it's doing now. When you start thinking about 60K, takes your eyes away from what it's doing right now. You need to study now to understand the trend and profit from it. That are my thoughts there. Naka, you got any more on that before I move on?
I mean, like, yeah. If you're looking at low time frames, if you're day trading or something, then you should probably not be thinking about 60K. If you're investing, I mean, I've got some Bitcoin. I think Bitcoin could do a catch-up rally. It's possible, right? It depends what risk assets overall do. I mean, I don't think it will go to 60K. I think if it does a catch-up rally, I would be targeting 40 on Bitcoin. A lot of people have been talking about the midterm elections in America, and I actually think they might be right that, politicians just kind of like make it happen. So Bitcoin to 40K, yeah, doable.
Yeah, I think that's totally reasonable. All right, let's get thank you, man. That's Nakamoto Lisk. He's on Twitter. Umar Ali. What would you like to say, Umar Ali?
And first of all, thank you so much, Cheds and Nakamoto. And this is my first time being on a BTC or a cryptocurrency space as a newbie. Even though I'm a Bitcoin, yeah, I'm a newbie. So
good.
Yeah, thank you. And as a Bitcoin enthusiast, I've always been Bitcoin enthusiast because I'm fascinated with this decentralized type of currency. So, and I would like to ask, what would your advice be? This is a question that's on that. This question is directed towards Cheds and Nakamoto. What would your advice be as a 24-year-old newbie Bitcoin enthusiast? What would your advice be to begin from? Where I know what Satoshis mean, I know what Bitcoin means, I know who founded or the group that founded, but what would your advice be? Thank you so much.
All right. So
and, also, I would also like to add that I will be in your future spaces too, in your future Bitcoin or any other spaces. So thank you so much.
All right, Umar. Thanks. Great to have you. Thank you so much. I would say take a deep breath and say, and say, I'm just happy to be alive. I wish I was 24 again. I mean, that's great. So I'd say take care of your body, be nice to your family and your friends, and, think about the long run. That's my advice to just myself as a 24-year-old. In terms of Bitcoin, I mean, you got to think about if you want to be an investor or a trader. I mean, if you want to be an investor, someone else will tell you maybe how to get started with that. If you want to trade, you need to learn trend analysis. Right, the study of historical price data to discern a trend, and then understand where in the price that trend will either strengthen or weaken. So if you're looking to learn how to trade, I have like a ton of free stuff for new traders. I mean, start with my YouTube channel, watch every video on the YouTube channel, and start taking notes. And then when you come up in these spaces, you can ask me these questions. It's such a great place to start. And then
I will subscribe. Sorry for the interruption. I will subscribe right away, and I want to go the investment
route.
So
let's do that. You want to go investment route? Okay, Nako, how should he get started? And thank you for stepping up.
Thank you.
Naka, how should he get started being a Bitcoin investor?
I mean, if you want to be a Bitcoin, I mean, I'm a Bitcoin investor right now. If you want to be a Bitcoin investor, it's probably a decent time to buy some Bitcoin, put it on. The key thing, I think, with investment is make sure that you're going to be able to access that investment in 10 years, right? So for me, that's like a hardware wallet, so that I'm, pretty sure that it's still going to be there. I think if you buy Bitcoin here, at the current price and wait 10 years, it's probably going to be worth more or maybe worth nothing. But I mean, if it's worth more, it'll probably be worth a lot more. So, that's actually a decent place to be an investor, right? Like 24K, Bitcoin was at 70K. We're basically buying Bitcoin at the same price it was in the previous bull run. So yeah, it's a decent place, I think.
I mean, even like a trader like me who's a curmudgeon and always wants it lower. I mean, weekly MA200. I mean, you're almost, if that strategy goes wrong, we're all screwed,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
All right. Let's see. Cardinal, it is your turn. Umar, I can't, one at a time. So I only have you up once, Umar Ali. Cardinal, what would you like to say today? Cardinal of Clairvoyance. Your turn to speak.
Up forever, the BCC. Cheds, man, was good.
Good to see you, man. New profile picture, I see.
Yeah. By the way, I think Naka is spot on. I think BTC to 60K in 3 weeks is right.
That's right.
Yeah. On the euro dollar, you're talking about the euro dollar. That's when I stepped in. What do you think? You said you're on the short. What's your target for a short on euro dollar?
You know what? I don't have a target yet. I'm just trying to catch the kind of the trend turning, because if the dollar rallies, I can just move my stop loss down kind of with each level. I honestly don't have a target on that trade yet. I'd say if I look at it now and you want, I'd say like 0.1, 1.01, $1 would be reasonable. That higher low, right? The higher low from late July.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty reasonable.
I've been short the euro for like 2 months now on
Nice
against
job,
versus the
dude.
CHF.
Nice job, bro. Good job.
Like
Good job.
I wish you could check my page. I just checked Euro CHF. I practically nailed that trade from a symmetrical triangle. It fell like 10% since then. It was so,
Okay.
so nice. Euro dollars have been short for a while. I think the euro dollar is going to like 0.92. I don't know. I might be reaching, but I don't know. We'll see how it goes.
All right,
Yeah,
brother. Thanks for stepping up, man.
having me, man.
All
Yeah,
right.
man.
Take care, dude. Great. All right. So, Toy and Crypto, we're happy to have you back. We'd love to hear an update on your journey. How you doing,
Hey,
Toy and Crypto?
Ted. What's going on? Can you hear me?
Just fine, yeah.
Oh, I'm actually just about to read your trading wisdom. I just ordered that from Amazon, so I'm about to delve into that this weekend.
If you're having trouble sleeping, it's really good.
Oh yeah, no, this will allow me to sleep for sure. This is exactly what I need to cure my insomnia.
Yep.
But just wanted to ask a question. So, on August 11th, we did see Bitcoin come down a bit, and we thought it was about to head to make its lower low, and then the next day it just went back up again. Where do you see it correcting to? Where do you see it making its low?
Where do I see it making like a higher low or what?
No, I'm sorry. The higher low. Yes, I'm sorry. The higher low.
So we're at the daily chart's at an interesting point because it's changed a little bit over the last like 10 days. Because if we've talked about this before. If you look at the series of lower to upper Bollinger Band moves in Bitcoin, if you look at the beginning of July to the doji on July 8th, and then you look at July 13th to July 18th, you have these, and then again on the morning doji star from the 26th, you have these sharp moves off the higher lows, immediately pushing to the upper Bollinger, right?
Right.
Now we have but then what happens here? We have the higher low August 4th. That's clearly a higher low. You have 6-7 days red, and then you start going up. But it led to actually a consolidation, an equilibrium, a tightening pattern on lower time frames rather than immediately pushing up to the top of the Bollinger Band. So we're very close to this pattern. Like this pattern is really mature. It's a mature pattern. It is incredibly mature. I do not expect us to be in this range much longer. Number one, just because I can see the structure changing. And it's just been doing this. It's been here for a very long time. So I think it could very easily go to 28K. And I think it really should probably reject there. But if it doesn't, like everybody should pay attention. It's one of those big levels. It's what we had at the 45, 46K back in February, March. And we broke it. It gave us a buy signal. And then it immediately rejected at the MA200. So we have a potential for that. You see that brewing in the background as a potential. So that has potential. We have potential to have that happen. Number one. Number two, in terms of that doji in the 11th, right? Well, think about it this way. What if we had a really nice hammer candle, a bullish hammer candle after a downtrend, right? And you bought in when that hammer candle closed. But now all of a sudden the price starts drifting back down towards the bottom of the hammer. It happens like all the time, right? So the best entries come on the retest of a range.
Right.
So always think about the retest of a signal, or always think about the level failure. It's always like the opponent is yourself, and it's always like you're playing against the version of yourself who bought on that candle close, and the more evolved version of yourself waits for the retest to give an even better entry, right? Because the market's always trying to trick you, so you got to kind of keep all that in mind.
On what time frame would you be looking for the retest? Not on the daily, right? Maybe a lower time frame to see.
I'm definitely just daily. I'm watching right now because I'm watching these wicks, and that's kind of how I've been watching it. That's just daily. I mean, 4 hour. I mean, you could try to figure out a 4 hour high or low. You could draw a rising wedge on the 4 hour right now. I mean, that's fine. But I mean, just price structure, you see, it would need to hold really 23.5, that horizontal flip level. If I'm looking at 4 hour, but like the more I go down to lower time frames, the more I'm reaching, the more I'm gambling, the more I'm moving my leverage up, because that's what it is. Lower time frames, weaker signals. I'm just watching these wicks. That's now we have kind of 24.8, 24.9. We've got 2 wicks there. That's definitely a level to watch. Daily EMA 8, and then that potential higher low right there, 22.5.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Bye-bye.
Hope you enjoy the book. Thanks for doing that. Hope you enjoy it. Let us know. Let's see. Tobias. What would you like to say, Tobias? Folks, please request to speak. There's only a few of you left. What's up? What's up, Tobias?
Okay, so greetings from Germany. I was wondering because I saw your USD chart, and then you twittered, I think, like big spot, but I don't know if I see it wrong.
For Sol.
Yeah, for Sol. I don't know if I see it wrong, but I look on the weekly chart and I see quite some resistance at around $48. So I'm just curious, or I was just wondering why you took that
same level of resistance on the daily chart too. Well, I don't have a position in the chart. What I pointed out was you had. I'm going to mute you while I respond, just because of the background noise. Oh, let me just do that. So, what I was really illustrating to people, what I often will do is when the price is at a key pivot point, right? I'll illustrate. I'll say big test, big level. You know, the price is bounced and rejected at 100. Comes back, bounced and rejected 100, comes back, and now it's back at 100. I might tweet it out, hey, big level, big spot, right? That's a pivot point, because if it breaks that level, it's bullish. If you want to short it, you can short it there because you have your invalidation level close by. Sol has a big kind of rounding bottom look. It's coming back right now and testing the highs of the end of May and the beginning of May, and the highs of the middle of July and the end of July. You get a pretty well-formed level of resistance here in the high 40s, 45, 46, 47, 48. So that lines up with your weekly support. I mean, that's resistance. That's the resistance, for Sol. So it's just pretty straightforward. I'm pointing out, hey, here's something that's setting up and now testing a major level. I haven't really in that tweet, or I haven't taken a position that I'm long or short. I'm pointing out that the price is at a key level. That's pretty much that. Does that make sense, Tobias?
Yes. Yeah. Yes, that makes totally sense, and I get that point, and now I know what to do. I think, because if we go through the resistance and get some support, then I think
you go long.
Yeah, we go long. Okay. Yeah. Well,
Smart. It's a clear horizontal
trend.
Thank you. Thank you, brother. Thank you so much. I hope you have a great day. I appreciate you coming. Folks, we love having you here speaking and listening. For those of you who are just listening, thank you as well. It's great to have you. But I would encourage you to request to speak, especially if you've never done it before. Don't be shy. I'd love to hear from you. I'm just a regular guy. We're hanging out. Ask your question. This is your opportunity. I'll bring you in and do my best to get to you. Let's see. Next up, we have Rove, Crypto Rove. Rev. What would you like to say, buddy? Rev, you're Crypto Rove? Are you there? You are not. Next up, we have Piite 20V, 20 volt.
Hey, Cheds. What would you say to someone who panic sold at 20K and all his Ethereum at 2,000 and is sitting here feeling really emotional about it, not knowing if should start to go back in, buy back in higher, or what?
So here's what I say. And Naka, would you want to go on that first?
I didn't hear the question properly. You panic sold Bitcoin at 20K, but what did you do with Ethereum? You bought Ethereum at 2K.
No, sold it at 2,000, watched it go all the way to 1,000, waited for 3 figures, and now it's back up to selling price. And too emotional to really know what's the right thing to do.
All right, let me address that real quick. I feel you, because I've felt that many times in many different trades. There's a quote. My next book's a quote book, and one of them, I think I might have had this in Trading Wisdom. If you buy something and immediately feel uncomfortable, you probably have too much money in it. So your uncomfort level is because you have too much money to manage without the emotional discomfort. You're just sized too much. You can't make a clear decision feeling that way in trading, in work, relationships, anything, right? So that's your first clue, is you have to attack that somehow, attack that emotion. What's that trigger? Is it that I'm not confident enough? Is it that I have too much money in is it that I'm because like sometimes as a trader too, we feel self-destructive, so we'll take risky trades, we'll do all this stuff. You really have to pay attention to like how you're feeling. So if you panic sold at Bitcoin at 20K, I would say wait and wait and see if we close above the daily MA200, because you can definitely go long. You go long above the daily MA200. And if the bottom is in, what does it matter if you get 20K or 28K if it's going to 100? Right? It's not. Try to avoid getting hung up on like nailing the bottom or nailing. Ethereum, you should have gotten back in at 1290. It had a very 1270. It had a very clear buy signal on that breakout. That's okay. I miss trades every day. I'm not like shaming you, but I'm pointing out that you made a great sell at 2K, and then the market gave you a really good place to step back in. So think about, either you didn't see the trade, or you didn't have time. Maybe you have a day job. You're a normal person. So what are your, can you forgive yourself? Don't be so hard on yourself if you can't watch the chart all day either. So think about all that. Step back a little bit. I would probably take your money out until you feel comfortable, and just kind of step back and ease into it a little bit more, and find a way to be comfortable with your trading. I mean, that's the only way.
Yeah, I mean, my take on the Bitcoin is, you can probably just buy back the Bitcoin. If your time horizon on Bitcoin is like 5 years,
right, exactly.
I mean, like 20 versus 24 is you lose 20% of your Bitcoin, because if Bitcoin is successful and it goes to $1 million, you're gonna be down 20% of your Bitcoin because of that sale, but 80% of $1 million is still pretty nice, right? With Ethereum, I'm actually kind of in the same position, because I sold a lot higher, but then I didn't buy back in. Well, I did, but then I flip-flopped a bit. I was kind of oversized, uncertain. I'm considering what to do myself. One possibility is you can just wait, because the thing is, like, I feel like every single question on this call has been about Ethereum, either because people want to buy it, because people think it's going to flip Bitcoin. The level of FOMO is unreal. And I know that you generally don't want to fade a strong move, but I just have a really bad feeling about this. I mean, one thing I've been looking at is you can potentially try and hedge upside risk with options. So if it like really does shoot to 6,000 next week, there are options plays, but then you can also waste money on those. So it's kind of a little bit unclear to me. So I don't really have a great answer on Ethereum, but I think on Bitcoin, given where Bitcoin is from an investing point of view, I don't think there's any need to worry about 20 versus 24 personally, right? Like if as I said, if you think it's going somewhere, and I personally do think Bitcoin is a mature asset now that's probably going to be fine for the next 10 years, I think it's fine to be in the low 20s.
All right, that's a great answer. Pi, you want to just one more? Do any more on that before we let you go?
I appreciate that. Part of the sell was to go from a long-term hodler to trying to capture some volatility, just to increase the holding size. So it was kind of the idea of, okay, I'm going to start to sell my long-term position so I have capital, buy back in lower, and just increase the holdings. So
yeah, I guess the problem is, rather than capturing the volatility captured you.
Yeah,
totally.
Well, listen, I actually think Ethereum is going to continue to rise, and then it's going to have a super dump after the merge. There's just, I mean, unless this time's different, quote unquote, like it's a buy the rumor, sell the news. It's going to probably top off a week before the merge. That's my spitball assessment.
Yeah, I mean, that's certainly possible. It may also be that too many people think it's going to do that, so it'll just keep running. So to the extent that you think Ethereum's going to run, you actually probably want to buy options on it, or kind of like trade it with longs, right? Because you can probably get, December option spread if it's really going to run. If it's really going to fuck people over and run to 7K, you can make a lot of money on that. But I do have some sympathy for the mega dump thing, just because of the sheer amount of FOMO that's around for it.
Yeah,
that just doesn't end well. It just doesn't end well. And
yeah.
But I mean, I could be coping. I didn't buy in, and I should have done. So it is what it is.
All right, great to have you up here.
Yeah,
Last
can I
thing to
ask
say,
kind of one thing on that?
real quick.
Yeah, a thesis I have is, as far as the opposite of mega dump, if everyone's hedging with shorts on perps, after the merge, they close their shorts and keep their spot. Is that a potential for a huge run up?
I mean, there's always a good theory, but just, why speculate? Look, you're going to have people taking profit, and there's no way to stop that. And it's not a bad thing. If it's going to go to like 10 grand, it has to dump first. Things have to sort out. You have to shake out short-term speculators and reset markets. That's why you have bull flag, bull pennants, failed topping patterns. You have to, like a failed head and shoulders that keeps going higher. You have to have these consolidations in order for it to move higher. It's healthy. So don't fear the dump. Don't think of reasons why it's not going to come, because that'd be even worse. Like the longer you prolong it, the worse it's going to be. So those are my thoughts. Great question. We have only a few more people asking to speak. Next up, we have Mastermind. What would you like to say today?
Hey, how's it going, guys? Thanks for having me up. Nothing much. Just a little background. I'm an investor, not a trader, and kind of got in at the top of the market. Have rode it down. Had a bunch of cryptos. Now I'm Bitcoin only because it's really the only thing I can sleep at night holding, that I have faith in. But I guess my question is, when we were at the top of the market, I had all this FOMO. We were going up, and I had this upward bias, and I was wrong about it. And now that we're in a bear market, I feel like I have a bearish bias that we're going to keep going down.
Mm-hmm.
But it does seem like a lot of crypto people only look at crypto and only talk about crypto. And I kind of have started to look at other assets and other sectors and listening to other people. And it seems like a lot of the macro people are very bearish about the next 6, 12, 18 months. So I just wanted to get your guys' kind of input on how much you guys look at that.
Great question. And real quick, it's a great question. So, if you're an investor, I can understand that feeling where you think it's going to get caught the wrong way, right? Because I mean, the talk was amazing when Bitcoin went to 60K. I mean, I almost believed the talk. I mean, it was so amazing, the fever pitch of what Bitcoin was going to do. And then when it's going down, you think it's going to go to zero. And so that's just kind of a normal human emotion. But if you're an investor and you don't have any kind of background in trend analysis, then you're going to be just led by your emotions. So I still recommend some type of basic trend analysis, maybe even just looking at a weekly chart, a long-term time frame, just even a simple moving average. I'm just doing some really basic, really, really rudimentary trend analysis, just to make you feel, if anything, to make you feel a little more comfortable to understand the kind of channeling nature of Bitcoin and how it will consolidate and all that stuff. But yeah, it's good to look at broader markets. Of course, there's like risk assets are correlated. I mean, there's no question. I mean, and people say, well, my replies are like 10%. People say, why even look at Bitcoin? You can just look at NASDAQ. And yes, there's correlation, but you're not trading that. You have to trade whatever chart you're looking at. And within different time frames, there'll be deviations of price, relative strength, relative weakness. It's not a one-to-one correlation. So you just got to trade whatever's in front of you. So yes, there's strong correlation, but you still have to trade what's in front of you. What do you think, Naka? This is a great question.
This is the thing that got me banned. I was so angry with macroeconomists that I posted on Twitter that I wanted to KILL a macroeconomist, and they actually just literally instantly banned me from Twitter because they have algorithms that can detect that. And it was like a joke. I didn't actually want to do that, but I was just very angry with them because they were most of them were quite bearish in June. I was very bullish on crypto at that point based on what I was looking at. But then I was like, do I really want to buy into what could be a 3-year-long recession and bag hold, Bitcoin to 12, Ethereum to 300 or something, when I could just be a little bit more patient and wait and see how it plays out? Now, they, of course, could still be right, but I actually think what's happened is I think like the whole macro space, like the legacy finance people, basically all got bearish at the bottom, and that's why we bounced really hard in legacy. So there was a lot of expectation of problems to do with supply chain disruptions, Fed rate hikes, weakness in consumer spending, recession, etc. And I think basically what happened is like the entire global finance system all got bearish together at the bottom, not just the crypto people, but also the legacy finance people, the hedge funds, that kind of thing. And when everyone gets bearish together at the bottom, that is not an enjoyable event for those market participants. So I think legacy finance are a bunch of idiots. They all got bearish at the bottom. Probably best not to listen to them unless you have a very good filter for who are the good ones who know what they're talking about and who are just, crazy. And that's my biased take. That's it is what it is.
Well, we're all, all of our takes are biased. I mean, we're not like robots. But I think it was a great take. So thank you for sharing that. That's Nakamoto Lisk on Twitter. I'd recommend you give him a follow. He's quite active, has some excellent content. I'm on Twitter at Big Cheds. YouTube, Cheds Trading. I would humbly ask you to follow me on YouTube. It's super duper grind. So every one of you, if you subscribe, that will help. Next up, we have Gerald. We'd love to hear from you, Gerald. What would you like to say today?
Hey, how you doing?
Hi, good. How you doing?
Pretty good. Yeah, earlier I heard a recommendation for the book by Neeson, and you said to check the yellow one, the Japanese candlestick charting techniques book. I was just wondering, could I get like a top 3 or top 5 books from you and Nakamoto as well, or
I have a tweet.
Is that kind of listed anywhere? Or?
Yeah, if you go to, that's a great question. I love that you're on that path, and I'll tell you that and that was the biggest difference in my success and failure was reading textbooks in my trading career, other than like discipline and luck. So if you go to the Twitter search menu, type in the word from, FROM, space, Big Cheds, BIGCHEDS, and then hit colon. So from Big Cheds, colon. And then you can type in any phrase. Type the word textbook. So we'll search all of my tweets and pull up any time I've mentioned the word textbook. I have a tweet that's like 2022 textbook recommendations. I also have that linked in another tweet. It's called New Follower Packet. You can search for that. You can search for any word. If you're ever curious about a technique, something I say, you can see what I've said about it in the past. Chances are I've attached an image, some type of a resource. So there's good stuff there for that. So that's where you can find those recommendations there. And for me, it would be Shawbacker, technical analysis and stock market trends would be my recommendation for classical charting. A lot of people read Edwards and McGee, but Shawbacker was first. I go with Shawbacker. And then if you're serious, in my book, of course, which kind of blends Eastern and Western TA, talks a lot about like trading psychology, risk management, kind of the experience of trading. I recommend that, of course. Free versions of my YouTube. And then, when you're ready to go professional, go CMT and do the level 1. That'd be my recommendation. Nako, what about you?
I don't really have any specific recommendations. I mean, I guess, Yeah, I don't have anything specific for charting. I'm mainly like self-taught, not from books. But
sorry to put you on the spot. Yeah, my bad.
Yeah, no worries. I mean, one thing I would say is, like some of the best trades I've had have been from things that nobody else has been looking at. So always be aware if you're kind of looking at like the most recommended book and the most recommended methods on the most popular asset, you're like minimizing your opportunity for alpha probably if there's and that's why I'm so hesitant to buy into Ethereum. It's the same thing. Like I hear everyone in the space asking about when they can get back in. It's like my edge is destroyed, right? Like
it's a good point. That's a good point. You want to buy when no one else wants it and sell when everyone else wants it.
Exactly. Yeah. You actually want to sell here, but it'll probably go for weeks. Probably even post merge anyway.
I think it's got some juice. A couple weeks at least.
It probably has, yeah.
All right, great, Gerald. Great to have you up here. All right. Thank you, man. Thank you for stepping up. That was a great question. SE Bra Thinker.
Hey, Jez, what's going on? How's it going?
Pretty good.
Yeah. So probably the 100th Ethereum question.
Oh my goodness.
Sorry. Yeah. So my timeline is only talking about Ethereum, flipping Bitcoin. I mean, like previous occasions. I mean, you kind of know what happens after that when everyone's kind of talking about Ethereum's going to flip Bitcoin, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
All that. I just feel like this is a kind of a similar situation to what we had with Cardano. During the bull run where everyone was kind of longing it to the testnet or mainnet. It was really a kind of buy the rumor, sell the news event. Then it continued to drop 85%. I feel like that's going to be obvious in hindsight with what we're going to have with Ethereum. I just feel like everyone's just going along whenever they can. Every like $10 drop, everyone's just trying to buy the dip. So I don't just really feel... I just feel like it's going to end like Cardano in a really kind of bloodbath. So I just want to know what you think about that.
So there's a great line of thought. But what jumped out to me is you can have a thesis, but how can you time it? Like you just don't know. You know when you're going to be right. You will be right at some point because there's musical chairs more or less. And how do you form a gravestone doji? Well, at some point, more sellers step in than buyers. That will happen at some point. But right now, momentum is that there's more buyers than sellers. And, at some point you have a good thesis. My point is, how do you time your thesis? And that's what trading is. And that's why it's so frustrating, where something's bottoming or topping, but you kind of get the timing wrong. And so that's why risk management is really important. You have to size in lightly. Don't be, going like bazooka Rambo every time you enter a trade. You have to be, I recommend being a little bit more agile. And kind of, be prepared to let the market really kind of shake you out. And that's why you have all these like long wicked candles up and down where they're trying to shake out everyone's stop loss. The market wants to just shake as many people off as it can before it makes its move. So that's like what Naka was saying. Like if everyone's already on the train, he doesn't want to get on that train, right? And that's kind of that point. So I guess that's what I'd say to that.
Yeah, that was kind of my thesis. Everyone's really kind of like sentiment flips on like a dime. Like 2 or 3 weeks ago, everyone was saying Ethereum to 300 to 400. Now everyone's calling for like 25, 3K. So, that's why I'm kind of like trying to be ahead of the field and definitely trying to build a short swing position, probably over 2 to 3 week span. Definitely not going in heavily. So
smart, good work. Start at 25. I'd start 25 to get there. That's where I'd start to. Go ahead. Yeah.
I was going to say with the Cardano thing, I kind of suspect that it won't be exactly like Cardano because their tech was actually shit. But having said that, if anything bad happens, right, it will be carnage, right? And there is potential for that. Like, if it all goes according to plan, it could actually just float up for a long time. But if anything bad happens, and there is this issue with Tornado Cash going around right now, which is like quite serious. Not many people are talking about it.
You want to give us some? I think I have a little sense of that, but do you mind kind of talking on that?
Yeah. So basically, what's happened is Ethereum is right. The big difference between Ethereum and Bitcoin is basically like a form of, you know, precious metal. It's like gold. So you can kind of send Bitcoin to people, but you can't really do anything with it. Whereas with Ethereum, it's a smart contract platform, right? Which means you can do all sorts of things with it. And one of the things you can do with it is Tornado Cash, which allows you to send money anonymously, right? And governments don't like that, right? They really don't like that, because if I can send money anonymously to anybody, that means that people who the government doesn't like can make use of it. It could be the baddies like terrorists or anyone, right? So anyway, the government doesn't like Tornado Cash, so they've been basically forcing dApps to ban you from using their dApp if you've used
developer app, a dApp.
A dApp is a decentralized application, right? So all these things on Ethereum are, in theory, they're decentralized, right? But then in practice, they often have centralized front ends, or some other aspect of them is actually centralized and it's controlled by a man or a woman somewhere in a building, and the government can send the police, so it's not actually decentralized. And the thing is, you know, I mean, like, if Ethereum's not actually decentralized, then it's a very overpriced database, right? Nobody's going to pay, like, you know, $100 billion for a database. So, you know, so basically they've now said, we're going to ban anyone who's used Tornado Cash from using Aave or Compound or Uniswap or any of these dApps, right? But the problem with this is that I could find your Ethereum address and I could just send you 0.1 ETH from Tornado Cash, and then you're banned from all this stuff, right? So anyone can now unilaterally ban anyone else from all of the dApps, and this is actually, like, quite a big problem.
I saw that. That's like Justin Sun was banned, right?
Yeah, but I don't know about Justin Sun, but, like, yeah, well, he may have been, right? If he has a .eth address like I do, you know, anyone could send me 0.1 ETH from Tornado Cash, and then I'm banned from everything, right? This is actually quite a serious problem. And then there's the aspect of Aave, I believe, Maker wants to detach itself from USDC because USDC is threatening to basically block Maker because DAI can be sent around in ways that the government can't ban. So, like, there's this whole issue of Ethereum's advantage as a smart contract platform clashing with the government's desire to have tight control over everything. And whilst this kind of, like, nascent conflict is brewing, people are pumping the price and FOMOing in. And, like, again, maybe I'm coping, but it's possible that there is some kind of event where maybe somebody finds a way to send Tornado Cash ETH to every account or every active account, and then everyone gets banned from all of the dApps. It could be a bit of a shit show. So it's not necessarily something to trade on, but something to bear in mind.
So that's interesting, and thank you. So that also sounds like a risk, not just to Ethereum, but to, like, these other dApps, right? Like Aave and all these other ones. Like that.
Yeah, because they're all running on Ethereum. That's exactly the issue, right? These are all dApps on Ethereum. They all run on Ethereum. So if, you know, if somebody sends Tornado Cash to all of the active Ethereum user accounts, then everyone gets banned and nobody can use these dApps. And that would be a problem, right? I mean, imagine, you know, you were running your life based upon Aave and that was your bank account, and then you were banned, like, and because Tornado Cash is anonymous, it means anyone else can unilaterally ban you from it. So it's like anyone could go to your bank and just get your bank account permanently closed just for the price of 0.1 ETH, which is about $200.
Why is it 0.1? Is that like the minimum, like, send or whatever?
Yeah, so Tornado Cash has, like, whole number amounts like 0.1, 1, 10, or 100. And the reason for that is to make it anonymous, right? You have a bunch of people who all put in the same amount so that you can't tell who it is just by looking at the number. Because, of course, the number that comes out, the amount of ETH that comes out, that's going to be public. It's on a blockchain. So if I send exactly 3.18 ETH via Tornado Cash to you, Cheds, and that's the only 3.18 ETH that came out of Tornado Cash, well, they're going to know it's from me because I was the only one who put that amount in. But if everyone's putting in 1 or everyone's putting in 0.1, then everyone's looks the same, right? So so that is something of an issue that you know, you could basically get everyone banned from all of the dApps by using Tornado Cash. it's something of an issue that Maker is considering kicking USDC out, because I think basically Maker is worried that USDC will ban them, and so they want to like preemptively get rid of USDC collateral. Anyway, there's like an issue brewing there, right? It may be a nothing burger, and Ethereum moons to like $5,000, and I just have to cope. But it's something to bear in mind.
Wow, thank you for that. That's great. So glad to have you here. There, I learned a lot, folks. I hope you did as well. Lil Deplorable, is your turn to speak. Miss Tim Lyons, please do not unmute yourself, folks, when I bring you up to speak. Please be patient when I call your name, and do not unmute yourself until it's your turn. Lil Deplorable, it is your turn to speak. What's going on? Poser Composer. Not sure if you're still here with us. Give you a 5 count, and if not, we'll move on to Tourist. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Tourist, it is your turn. What is going on, buddy?
Hello, Big Shots.
Hi, buddy. Good to see you again. What's up?
How are you doing today?
Good.
I'm good too. First of all, I want to thank you for your valuable time you're giving us. I want to thank Nakamoto also for his valuable responses. I learned a lot from him today. I got two questions. So the first one, how much time do you see the BTC will stack in the 24K price? And I want to also get a little chart reading for XPR. So thanks in advance, Chads. Love you.
What is that, Proton XPR?
Yes, knowing that Proton has 80% bar in the last few days.
All right. So how long do I see Bitcoin in the 24K range? I don't think we'll stay here long, whether we're going up or down. I talked earlier about the weekly price structure changing, where with our last higher low, we didn't have as a sharp a move back towards the upper Bollinger. We've been kind of consolidating. Now we have these upper shadows. And the weekly chart, we've been watching the weekly chart in that cluster of EMA 8 and MA 200, and it's getting tighter. And we're right there. So it has to pick a side. The trend has to pick a side very shortly. So I don't see us staying here much longer. XPR, it's it's okay. It's not great. It's below the MA 200. I think if you get back above point, it's basically a penny. If you get back above a penny, you're doing great. So I would kind of wait. I'd see everything as probably a bearish retest until then. That's what I would say about XPR Proton. There's better chart play,
Okay.
All right.
Actually, I'm shorting at 005 and I'm buying at 0047. It's
good. Well, I wish you well, brother. Thank you for stepping up.
Thank you, Chad. Love you, man.
Thank you for joining the conversation today. Folks, I want to hear from you. Please request to speak. Tim Lyons, it's your turn if you're around. What would you like to say, buddy?
Yes, Big Chads, love you, man. I was new to Twitter trading Bitcoin, and I joined all at the same time. The number of jokers that I ran into before I found Bitcoin Live, I can't tell you how ridiculous that was. I mean, now I stay in my 4 walls of Bitcoin Live. It's like the Yodas of trading.
Oh, we got some good peeps, man.
Somehow
I'm working with these guys. I don't know how that
happened. It's I'll tell you, it's not easy to find you. I mean, if you're new to that hole, it's almost like getting in the Matrix, trying to figure out your way through Twitter. And then, I'm just an everyday guy that whole everything was. But anyway, I found you, and here we are.
Thank you.
So what I've discovered is, you have to identify as what type of trader you are, right? So I know I'm not a long-term investor, and I tried day trading, and it's just, I have a full-time job. I have my own company. So I figured out that hopefully I'm using the term appropriately. I'm a swing trader. And I've read all the books. I've read all your stuff. I follow you Wednesdays and Sundays, watch everything you've got. Where I am having, and I feel like I have diamond hands because I'm in a very risky asset business outside of the cryptocurrency. So I have no problem risking money. The trouble I'm having is I find if I do the traditional 3 to 5% stop, put my stops in at 3 to 5% as per kind of the legends of TA. Because I'm only able to look on the weekends as to what's happening and find if I'm going to be in a position or not, I'm getting stopped out because of the volatility. So, my biggest problem right now, and my question is, how do I calm the noise during the week? Because I can't trade. I just don't have the time. I'm stuck to Saturday, Sunday. And should I be moving my stops to higher percentages? As long as I can get my ratios 3 to 1, 5 to 1. How would I just find that I'm stopping out too much now because of the natural swings that we have in cryptocurrency. I don't know if that makes sense.
That's a great. So I have so many thoughts. But first, thank you. It's like, you folks are the backbone, and you listen to me. I love Bitcoin Live, so thanks for being part of that. We're choppy right now. I mean, we're not. It was pretty easy. It was pretty easy from November down to February. We just rejected every time at the EMA 34, and kind of the same here now until whatever it was a few weeks ago. So we're like super choppy right now. This is the train trying to shake people off before it makes its move, or it's the griffin that everyone's trying to hold on to before it takes off, and it's going to start flying away. We're in this choppy range right now. So, but my question is this: more specifically, are you trading the daily or the weekly? Like, what
well, I sometimes I'll peek at the daily, but I'm waiting for that 8 p.m. close on Sunday to see what's happened.
Good. So listen, this is really good. So Peter Brandt, I mean, you guys, he's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Did you see our interview yet?
I did. Oh yeah. Yep.
Oof. Wow. So I read his book too, and he talks about like he opens his positions on Friday towards the end of close. And it's based on that because that's the Sunday night in crypto, right? That's when the weekly candle's closing.
Right.
And then he doesn't even like really touch it or look at it. So, if you're trading off the weekly time frame, I think you're going to have to make your stop losses obviously based on the weekly time frame. And you're doing it fine, minimum 3 to 1. That's great. So you're kind of understanding how you're structuring your risk. We're just choppy right now, so that's frustrating. It's not you. It's nothing. I don't think there's anything really wrong with your method. And you're gonna see volatility before the big move. Like we know this, right? So there's times when the trading's easy, and there's times when it's not. And so if you have to sit on your hands, do that.
Yeah.
Right. You gotta.
Yeah. I mean,
yeah.
Right. If I stop out, I just gotta wait until I'm looking at the charts then that Sunday and see where I'm at.
You wait for a cleaner signal to it. There might not be a trade sometimes.
Yeah. Right. Don't overtrade.
Might not be a trade. So be open to that. Remember Ethereum, right? Before it broke out, when it started to channel and at 1270, right? It started the ascending triangle. It started that. And if you remember back then, I kept talking about how there really wasn't much to work with anywhere in terms of price structure. Nothing had really formed. And then that was the first thing that really came out in that bear market was here's a really nice breakout level. Everything else kind of sucks. But this, we got something right here. And that just happened to be the ignition for this, like a really great run we've had. Right. Yeah. So sometimes it's there and sometimes it's not there.
Yeah.
So just got to kind of keep that in mind.
I appreciate it.
Oh, love it. Thanks, dude. Great to have you up here. Thank you so much. Level 10 noob. Good to see you again. What's up, dude?
Hey, Chad. Hi, Naka. How are you doing, guys? So, I was just listening to the story on Tornado Cash, and there's actually still 180K ETH in these contracts on chain. You can check it. Just to let you know, there's actually quite some potential there for some trouble. But other than that, what I really wanted to talk to you about is in the last legs downwards, we basically on Bitcoin, we saw some really, I would say, nasty kind of downward trends starting like with little candles, and it amplified, and it seems like longs being forced sold, right? So a lot of liquidations happening, and we got this really nasty percentage-wise wicks downwards in a short amount of time, right? Now at the moment we see the same thing. Let's say we see the perps basically reducing on Bitcoin, and there's actually a lot of open interest, I think, accumulating on Ethereum right now, right? And I just wonder if we see this kind of destruction because of this forced sales later on, with Ethereum. What's your take on that?
So great. Thanks for stepping up. I'll mute you real quick while I answer. But thank you again. Yeah. So these are valuable things to look at. They're valid things to look at. But I don't look at them. There's different styles of trading. I don't really pay attention to order books. But I could probably point you to two or three really good traders who do use them, who are way better than me as traders. There's just different styles to do things. For me, everything outside of the price is speculation. It's because I'm bored. I'm waiting to see if the price holds support or not. I'm waiting to see if it completes whatever pattern I'm watching. So you can look at perps, you look at open interest, you can look at all that stuff, but that's second order, third order data. Like the price is the only thing that matters. All this talk about something that might happen, or usually when interest is this high, X, Y, and Z happen, just watch the price. That's my style. But Naka, do you track any of that kind of stuff that he was talking about? Is that something you look at?
Like open interest or funding rates? I mean, I've looked at it. The problem with a lot of this stuff is you have to be able to extract a usable signal from it, and I'm kind of working on systems to do that. I mean, yeah, and a lot of these things, like, on lower time frames, maybe they can be useful, but on higher time frames, they tend to just tell you what you could probably already see from looking at the price. So when it goes up a lot, it's probably a lot more open interest because people are starting to FOMO in. And then when there's a big nuke, open interest goes down because people got wrecked. So, as to the specific thing that, like, ETH is going to have some kind of event, it's possible. It's also possible that it doesn't, and that it just kind of like floats up, with basically everything goes smoothly. People who are betting long basically end up winning, and everyone just keeps trying to short it, and it just never goes down. I mean, that is a possibility, right? And it's a little bit hard for me to see what's going to happen.
All right, great. Thanks for having you up here. Thank you for the question, folks. I'm Big Cheds. It's Nakamoto Lisk. Please consider following us both on Twitter. Sorry about that. I'm just moving stuff, cleaning up here. Consider following me on YouTube at Cheds Trading, where you can find the free version of my book, Trading Wisdom. Bart Zamboni, we'd love to hear from you. What's going on, dude?
Hi, Cheds. First time, long time. Been following your work for years. Really appreciate the analysis.
I appreciate you. Thank you, buddy.
Yeah, absolutely. I might be the 101st question about Ethereum today, but
no!
You mentioned earlier that Ethereum gave us a clear opportunity to hop back in on longs. I believe you said around 1260, 1270, and I may have missed your prior analysis on that, but can you speak to whether you saw that opportunity in real time and what exactly you relied upon there that made it a clear look to hop back in?
Yeah, so definitely. So if you think about on classical charting, I don't know if you've read it at all, studied it at all. Kind of one of the easier ways is just to watch my YouTube masterclass playlist, where I kind of, I'll break down the basics. But more or less, you have an ascending triangle, which is where you have a clearly defined level of resistance, and then you have a higher lows into that. So every time it drops, it's a little bit higher, right? Normally, that's a bullish continuation pattern. Most of the time, you'll see that in advance. But there's something called an ascending triangle reversal. Bitcoin's done it before. Did it on the daily chart. I think April of 2020. I mean, I don't have it in front of me, but you can go find one. That was one of the recent in the last few years. It was one of the main bottom formations. So that started to form. And based on my style, what I really do is I really just laser focus on horizontal levels, and I look to see where the price rejects. I look to see where the price bounces, and if there's no structure, I just wait until it forms. And then when I have a lot of data points and a well-defined level like 1270, 1280, 1290 area, that allows me to set up a trade because it's a binary. I'm long above this level, and I'm short below that level. It gives me something clear so I can structure my risk around it. And so that's kind of the style that I've developed.
Makes a lot of sense. Thanks, Chad. Appreciate that.
Thank you, Bart. Great to have you, man. Don't be a stranger, folks. go ahead and request if you want to speak. We'd love to have you in on the conversation. I'm going to bring a few of you up at a time. Please wait until I call you, and you will want to make sure Twitter has access to your microphone. Polycrypt, bro deck, what's going on?
Hey guys, can you hear me?
Yeah, how's it going?
Yeah, I'm doing good, thank you. I wanted to thank you for having me on tonight, and I wanted to thank you for your educative content, which is really helpful to me to just understand this market better and to lose as less money as possible and try to make as most money as possible. So I had a question. It's difficult to understand where to get good entries because, just for example, right now I feel like everyone on crypto Twitter is getting bit more and more bearish, expecting new lows like Capo Crypto, which is an account I respect as well. But just based on price action, I just find it to be more bullish just on a daily time frame. I see that there's higher highs.
You think BTC Crypto Twitter is more bearish now than like a couple weeks ago?
I'm talking about like more on big accounts, mostly.
Like who? I've never heard of the person you mentioned, but who else? Like, because we have to.
Did I say bullish? I mean more bearish, yeah.
It's so hard because like there's all these different concentric circles of like our own Twitter spheres, and like, I can think of like 10 people I really respect, and I know like at least 2 or 3 of them have a beef with each other. I mean, there's all this like, so you never know who's in what circle, and so I don't know exactly who. You're getting from, but from what I'm thinking, I think it's way more bullish now than it was a couple weeks ago. I mean, and I have a good spread, but maybe that's selection bias. Maybe my grouping is wrong and yours is right. Who's to say?
No, well, I tend to actually unfollow a lot of accounts at some points because I feel like they're too. They base their analysis on sentiments and emotions more than just TA or PA, and so I tend to just get away from them. Like I started crypto Twitter maybe 4 years ago, and there's a lot of accounts that I don't follow that I used to follow when I started, and I don't follow now because there's just no real analysis on. I feel like it's more of a
Can I push back on that though? I would I consider myself a sentiment trader, and I've actually said times before that even though it pains me to say so, you can actually spot bottoms and tops of sentiment really well. At least a couple times last year, I spotted the April top on Bitcoin on sentiment. I tweeted out too much enthusiasm. Everything was crazy, and there's times on the way down where everyone's giving up, and I haven't seen the panic bottom that I think I'm waiting for that would signify for me a sentiment bottom. So I'm a sentiment trader. I just think you need to have both to complement each other.
I agree with you. The point it was like, for example, more just on like if a big account just says like, oh, we're gonna shoot back down or shoot right up. It's just I'm a sentiment for everything when it comes to crypto or anything else, but there needs to be like that, that I guess that middle ground, and I feel like there's a lot of just or we shoot up or we shoot back down, and it's hard to find those accounts when I follow you, and I really do enjoy your content because I feel like there's an explanation, even if there is sentiment behind, there's still an explanation for what you're saying. It might happen, or not, and I have more respect for that because I feel like there's a lot of work that came behind what you're just saying, and it's not just saying, because I feel like you could FOMO in or FOMO out, and a lot of people, as myself, we're not experts as good as you guys are, and it's just it's I feel like it could scare people to or FOMO in or to sell, and
appreciate that.
But,
listen, listen, I appreciate you. You're talking about kind of the trading experience, and it's something I think about a lot, and I've written about. And like we are our own primary opponent. Like it's us against ourselves, our own impulses. Like FOMO is so hard to get away from. I was talking about earlier when Bitcoin was in October. I was almost believing the Bitcoin to 200K stories myself, the ideas behind it. I mean, it's
right.
So we get carried away. If we couldn't get carried away in things, then you can't have fun in life. You have to allow yourself to get carried away by things in order to it's just an experience. You need to experience a range of emotions. That's what we do. So hey man, anyway, so great to have you, and I want to just kind of before we get too far afield. So yeah.
Do you mind if I just ask you this one question? So just on the daily time frame, I feel like we're seeing higher highs and higher lows, and I feel like it's pretty steady. It seems pretty organic.
It really is. It is. It's a pretty clean stair step here.
Yeah,
where
it
you've
is.
had the higher highs marked with candle weakness, and then the progressive higher lows. So it's been a pretty tradable channel. It's just like a bear flag that kept on going. So it could hit 25.5, the low of May 12th. It could hit 28K underside, and it could also tag the MA 200. Those are the last 3 checkpoints left in this relief rally.
But why, like, it's such a organic growth. Why would it go to like 25.5 or 20 and then like shoot back down? I feel like it's such a beautiful organic growth.
What do you mean why? What do you mean why? Why do you need a why? More sellers than buyers. It's still what it did in February. There's a why. It's just, I don't know. I don't focus on the why. I don't think you need a why. Just trade whatever happens. Don't get married to it, and admit when you're wrong very quickly, and that's the secret to success. So thanks for stepping up, man. Good to hear from you.
Thank you so much, guys. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you. Fox Star 43. What's going on? I'm going to bring you folks in on the conversation. I'll get through as many of you as we can. I have some time here until I have friends coming over. So until they arrive, I'm all yours. It's your turn. Allah Khan. 5, 4. Yo.
Hello, sir.
Hi.
Hi, Chess. How are you, sir?
Good. How you doing?
All good, sir. So I actually want to ask a question to you. So what is the bottom for you for the Bitcoin?
What do you
What
mean?
do you think the bottom is?
I don't know. I don't know yet. It depends if we can. It depends how high this relief rally goes.
According to your opinion and analysis, so what is? Can you give any range for us?
Look, if we flip 28K, I think there's a much better chance the bottom is in. Until we flip that level,
Yes, sir.
then I'm still going to be cautious. So, I mean, I can't, that's it. I mean, I can tell you other support levels below the price where it is now. It doesn't mean we're going to go there. So,
so what do you think, sir?
Yeah.
Will this pump sustain, or this is the relief rally?
It's a relief rally right now, and if it can recapture the MA 200, we'll be uptrending again.
Okay, so what do you think? What is the max pump for this relief rally? So, from my opinion, 25,500 is the last.
MA 200 daily. That's where it rejected at the end of March. Okay.
Yes, sir. And actually, I want to ask one more question.
Oh, sorry about that. We have to keep moving on. We have a lot of people waiting. Let's see. And thank you for coming, my friend. I'm Big Cheds. Consider following Nakamoto Lisk as well. Hang in there in the background. Dave Anomics. What's going on? Dave, what would you like to say today, bud? It's your turn to speak.
Hey, Cheds. Thanks, man. Can you hear me?
Yeah. What's happening?
Wicked. Yeah, beautiful. Just want to say I've been following your work and really appreciating it. And studying a lot of your stuff that you teach. Yeah, and so I'm doing well with my trading. I've been studying TA, and 2020-21 I made some good money and I held on to it. I sold in December, and I'm at an all-time high, man. I paid myself as well, and I've been trading. But really I was just throwing money around, Uniswap and just sort of riding trends and catching stuff. It was pretty scruffy, but I came out with some good money. And then this year I wanted to hold on to my money and then really study and take it to the next level. So I've been studying, I've been practicing with smaller size and trading and winning. But my question is technical, actually, in terms really technical in terms of stop losses. So I don't really know what I'm starting to get to a point now where I'm trading up with size again in a much more systematic way and doing quite well. But I'm on Binance, and I'm happy with Binance as a system, but it doesn't have a market stop order, and I'm starting to put some quite large sums in on these trades again. But now I'm like much more cautious. I'm like, Should I be worrying about the stop limit order? I've heard about orders like flying past stop limit orders, if something liquidates or something. Have you ever experienced that? And do you ever
So listen, I want to ask you a question. I heard you a moment ago say that you were coming back in now with small positions, and then in the next breath you're talking about how it's big amounts and you're worried about slippage.
I've been working. I've been building up, man. Yeah. So I was, it's just moving from small to medium, and now I'm like, all right, well, the next step is large. I'm like, I actually, now that I'm thinking about it, should I be? Yeah. So that's the thing. I don't know if I'm
protected. I would say stop market orders are incredibly risky, because I mean, well, everything's risky, but like
stop limit, you mean?
Stop limit's risky as well, but even stop market, because that's what there was the price cascade that like Arthur stopped. There's like a price cascade on BitMEX, right, Naka, and then like Arthur stopped it. Like you never know, and if there's not enough liquidity on an exchange, they're going to fill your order much lower.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's what it is. I mean, there's very few it's all risky. Every option is risky.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So you don't have a magic idea for that.
I don't, other than multiple positions rather than one position.
Right.
And at different price levels is what I would do. I would split it up. So when people often say to me, I don't know how to take profit, or I always get stopped out and then I don't get any of the profit. Let's say, all right, break up your $1,000 position into 5 positions and then move them up to different levels. So whatever size you have, split it up into multiple positions, be a little more flexible and agile. And it's likely at least some of them will trigger at like the level you want it to trigger. It's unlikely like all 5 of them that are at different price levels are going to be subject to like the system's failure. So maybe that's the only thing you can really do. And it isn't much, but that's about all I could see.
That's cool. Thanks, man. Really appreciate it.
I appreciate you.
Thank you.
Did you have any thoughts on that, Naka, or?
Yeah, that's quite interesting. Certainly having multiple positions is a possibility. I know there are some traders who don't use stops; they only do manual stops for their trades. You can also have, something like Quant Tower or In Silico Terminal if you're really serious. I haven't got started with those yet, but I'm considering it. You can then basically handle that algorithmically using the API, and you can write your own custom, routines to get out of a trade when it goes against you.
Well, that's interesting. That's pretty nifty, actually. That sounds
I know people who do that, and In Silico Terminal is free. It's developed by In Silico here from Crypto Twitter. So if you want to do it, and you can do all sorts of things like TWAP.
You can't say that on TV, sir. Sorry. TWAP, you can't say that on TV.
It's in time weighted average price.
Oh, sorry. Okay, my fault.
But I mean, multiple positions is a good one.
All right, great. All right, great question. A lot of these questions are complicated, and almost the secret to wisdom here is just accepting that you're not going to get easy answers to any of your questions. We're all still kind of figuring it out as a space, as traders, as market makers, as everything. So that's interesting. Folks, love to hear you speak. When I bring you up, please wait till I call you. If I mute you, don't unmute yourself. Just kind of wait until I call you. I'm Big Ched. That's Nakamoto Lisk. It's great to have you here. August 13th, 2022. I will be uploading the spaces to my YouTube channel. You can find all the other spaces, the recent ones at least, in a playlist called Spaces. We have great conversations. I don't know what you're going to ask. I don't know what I'm going to say. And so it's a lot of fun. Next, we have Doda. Doda, what would you like to say today?
Hey, Cheds. Thanks for having me up here, man.
Sure. What's going on, dude?
So I come from the NFT world, and that's like really my first step into investing. I'm a student, so I just haven't really ever put myself into the trader's mindset. And like you know how it goes in that world. That's super volatile. And like when I'm listening to you talk, like you bring up a lot of like points that are used in crypto that we also use in NFTs, like selling at different levels and whatnot. So my question is, when it comes to Ethereum, I really haven't had a lot of experience trading Ethereum. I really just aped in to get into NFTs. I sold at like around $2,500. And I only keep the Ethereum in as I need for my NFT trades. Now, I've been dollar cost averaging recently into Ethereum, and I want to know what your opinion is on that trading method.
I mean, dollar cost average is a good trading method if your time horizon's long enough. I mean, and so, but you also still have to think of in your mind, what's the exit plan too, right? Like when I ask someone if they're investing, does that mean you have to hold it until you pass away? And like if it's your children, or are you at some point going to realize it and then like confirm that you had a good idea when you started it, right? So DCA is good if you have a long enough time horizon, but you also want to have a general idea of what you're trying to do with it. You know, you want to buy it here because in 3 years you think you can sell it for 10 grand or 15 grand or whatever. I mean, so that's your plan. So whatever, as long as you have a plan, have that plan, but also figure out like, when does the idea go wrong? You know, how much risk am I willing to tolerate? Is it money I can afford to lose? Right? I wouldn't DCA with your rent money, you know, but if it's kind of speculative money that you can kind of, you don't want to lose, but you still, you know, you'll be okay without it, you know, that will change your approach as well. So, you know, like everyone has a different relationship with money, and so you have to think about that. Don't just DCA something forever, because it could just, maybe this is the top, you know, so who knows. So have a plan, but also have a general idea of when that plan is going to fail. I think that's what I would say.
Thank you so much, bro. That's like a key thing I think is it helped me with like NFTs, is that I had like a solid exit strategy, which was like exit within like the first week of like owning any NFT outside the one I hold right now. And like that's super short-term mindset. So I think when I have a long-term approach when it comes to dollar cost average, like you said, it's kind of like a good idea to do that. But I really haven't like pinpointed like my exit strategy, and I think I'm gonna go back into like my research logs and just start like thinking about, you know, what levels do I want to hit, and how do I want to go forward in the next couple of like months and years with my investment strategy. Thanks, man.
Beautiful. Sounds like you're on the right track. I love that. I love when I hear these calls. Love it. All right, Batista Mendo. What's up, Batista Mendo?
Hey, Big Chad. Thank you so much for all you do, man.
Thank you.
Nothing, Chad. So I have a couple of questions. I've been following you recently, actually, according to your show once before. And the reason, actually, for now, the question that I have is, again, it's about Ethereum, real quick. With this merging that's coming up, right? Do you know if it makes a difference if you buy in on exchanges versus if you buy in directly from Ethereum network?
I don't really have any thoughts.
Does it make any difference for what?
I'd say the price you buy it at, not where you buy it from.
As far as the POS.
As far as what?
As far as like staking it and stuff.
Oh, well, you can. So, yeah, I mean, it doesn't matter where you buy your ether, right? You can buy it on a centralized exchange, or you can buy it on a DEX.
Oh no, there might be like wrapped Ethereum that's you lock up for like 6 months. I think.
Well, I mean, if you want to get into staking, you can already buy staked ETH on DEXs, right? Like Lido or Rocket Pool staked ETH.
Okay.
So, yeah. So I think the answer is no. It doesn't matter.
Let me ask you. My friend set up a .eth domain that points to his first and last name, and then I googled it, and then I saw that he spent a lot of money on NFTs. Is that dumb?
Is that your question, Mark? All right. Thanks for stepping up. Great to have you. Yeah, I don't know. Go ahead, Batista May. Yeah.
Okay. So my other question is, so basically all this time, well, literally between last year, I had, like I mentioned in my previous call during one of your shows before, I had lost lots of money. So I've been very careful about not getting back. just watching this whole bear market and staying on the sideline. But finally today I decided to ape in into ETH because again it's been going up steadily and stuff. My second question, Chad, is basically I'm still like a newbie in this whole space and I don't really know quite much what I'm doing. I've listened to your books online, what I want to ask you is, do you actually train and mentor people? Because I would really love to be for you to be my mentee. If there's a way that
Thank
I
you.
can get directly
So
in touch
listen,
with you.
it's great to hear from you. You can be my student. All you have to do is join Bitcoin Live.
Okay.
Bitcoin Live. Twice a week, I do a full market report. I look at
Okay.
all the whole market. I take requests to answer questions. I've done it for at least 3 years without missing one report.
Okay.
Twice a week. So just go ahead and do that. And I'll take your Ethereum. Okay, Naka's right. Like, wow, I didn't realize these are all about Ethereum. And you're literally like describing the experience of FOMO as it's happening, like in real time. So I would say if you're going to FOMO in, you have to have a stop loss. Every trade, even a FOMO trade, like needs a stop loss. So like Ethereum needs to hold the daily MA200, MA20, the middle Bollinger Band. That's where it's bounced off of the last couple times. It was resistance from April all the way down. Now we flipped it. So you just watch that level. That would definitely be a stop loss for me. Wow, Naka. Are you kidding me? I didn't realize this would be.
It's so bad, isn't it? It's so bad. Like,
I'm surprised. I haven't been paying enough attention. Interesting. That's why I love these spaces. You get to really talk to people and see what's up. So, all right. Thank you. Georgi Todorov. Georgie, what would you like to say?
Hey guys, thanks for having me.
Hi. What's up, dude?
We've been talking about Ethereum for the past couple hours. I wanted to ask something similar but slightly different. What do you think about the Ethereum Classic pump and how would you trade that?
Yeah, it's been really impressive, actually. Ethereum Classic. Let me go take a look at the chart. Yeah, I've been watching that because it's just been, it's had relative strength. And so let me pull it up. I just think it's great. I love when there's action, when there's volatility. The chart's pretty clear. I mean, you tell me, where is the price rejecting? From like March on, what's like the general level that the price has trouble getting back over?
That's a tough question because I'm on my phone right now.
It's an easy question. Oh, okay. It's $50. It rejected there. It spent about 2 weeks consolidating there, kind of a head and shoulders thing at the end of March. And then when it bounced again here about 14 days ago, July 29th, that's where it rejected, really 46, 47. And we're kind of right up in that range. You got a pretty clear breakout level, and it's a key psychological level too, $50. So it sets up like a binary trade where you're either long above or short below. So you get the psychological trade that actually has price structure confluence, or kind of it backs up that thesis. So this is a very easy chart to read, in my opinion. All right.
So,
and then support,
in
watch,
your opinion,
watch EMA 8. Yeah, go ahead.
So in your opinion, it would be too early to short right now?
It just depends on your entry. I mean, you have an upthrust in today's candle. You could have shorted off of that just on a clear horizontal strategy, right? When it broke above 45.10, it came back below it. You could already be short.
I am. That's why I'm asking.
Well, there you go. But what's your stop loss?
46.
All right. So, looks pretty clean. I hope you do well either way. And thank you for stepping up here today. Great. Thank you for adding to the conversation. Let's get NFT 127 NFT in the conversation. What is up?
Hey, Jets. First time up here listening to you.
Okay.
Just looked you up. You have 2 books. Congrats on that. I'm looking
you.
forward on reading those later on. Also learning a lot about trading every day. I come from margin trading from 2018. I trade everything that it moves, my boy. So
Yeah, talk to me.
yeah. So when I heard you saying, just don't marry, the movement. I like that. So I know you probably swing as well. So I was listening to a lot of people, and now knowing a little bit of your background, I would like you, if you can share some of the psychological movements and also positions about when it's a good time. I'm not testing you, by the way, or anything. I'm actually trying to learn as well other people's ideas, and I want to know when is the best time, you know, to enter a position. Like right now, we've seen a lot of FOMO people trying to jump into the train with Ethereum with this movement right now. We know Ethereum has made 100% movement. I mean, actually double the price, probably a little bit more since the 900, 800, and also following BTC. I mean, we reject for, if I'm not wrong, 1, 2, 3, 4, almost 5, 6, almost 6 weeks, almost 5 weeks. We reject from the 17,500 region to the 19 region. That's it was a downturn region for me. If we were to break that, I know we will plump on the price. But now we reject that for a lot of weeks already. So, and eventually I know we were going up. RSI was also dropping. Now it's coming back up. So I have my second part right now. It's like around 35, 34, 500. Would you think will be following that? Would you think that would be a nice entry to short Ethereum? And I want to know your opinion on the psychological trading. That it's
All
very
right,
important for me.
great. That's a great question. A lot there to unpack. So I wrote my book, Trading Wisdom, is really at least a third trading psychology. So I think a lot about this stuff, and I have my third book. It's coming out later this year, Trading Quotes, where it's a quote a day, and then I do a couple favorite quotes from each week, and I expand on them. So, for example, like I think a lot about this stuff. If you go to my YouTube channel, there's the free version of my book, Trading Wisdom. I've done 16 of the 50 lessons so far. I talk a lot about the psychological aspects. So, for example, like when you want to sell, like when you're so excited about your trade that you take a screenshot of it and you send it to your buddy, right? That's when you sell, when you're that excited. And you think about how bottoms and sorry, my wife keeps calling. There's a sentiment bottom, and it's often when people are just giving up. There's so much abject fear and abject despair and people giving up. So you want to buy when no one else wants it, and you want to sell when everyone else wants it, generally speaking. But the psychological battle, so it's you observing the market, but it's also you against yourself too. So you have to think about that. When you enter a trade, if you feel uncomfortable, you have too much money in it. So you have to be kind of aware of how you're feeling. If you're angry, if you don't have confidence, you'll find a way to self-sabotage and ruin your own trade. In terms of so anyway, those are my thoughts on the psychology. You can check out my book, check out my YouTube. I really dive into that stuff a lot. Ethereum has a big event coming up. So we've got kind of the arc of this uptrend. There will be a very good shorting opportunity, and the price structure will give that for us. Ideally, it will be after kind of a volatile topping day, kind of a blow off topping day. You don't always get that. Sometimes you get kind of a slower arcing top. But ideally, given the momentum, and you see everybody who's calling today is like asking about Ethereum, you could see a kind of even greater FOMO event coming that could cause a blow off top. I think you probably still have a couple weeks to come before it happens. But I think a lot of people are going to be on watch for a topping pattern to form. So I think you've got a good approach, a good skill set, a good mindset, and I think you'll do fine either way. All right, thank you for stopping up.
And thank you, Chad. I really appreciate your answer. Thank you for sharing that. And like different from Nora, I come from trading now into NFTs, and a lot of tokenomics now into a lot of NFTs. And it's crazy NFT right
Yeah.
now. So Well, that's pretty much it, Chet.
Yeah.
So thank you very
Thank
much,
you,
man.
brother. Great to have you. Thanks for stepping up. I'm Big Cheds. That's Nakamoto Lisk on Twitter. I guess I should wrap it up before I get divorced. My wife keeps calling me. TB, what would you like to say? TB, it's your turn.
Hey, can you hear me? All right, I'm talking through my pickup here while I'm
I got
driving.
a rant. I got to call. You know what? I'll have to promise to get you next time. I have to wrap up. I just had a second person tell me how to take the call. So I'm sorry, folks. I'll get you next time. Shoot me a message on Twitter, and I'll answer your question, TB, okay?
All right, sounds good.
Take care, guys. Thank you. All right. I feel bad. I wonder what that guy was going to ask. This is a good reminder for me to reach out to him, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. So anyway, thank you. I'm glad you folks listened. I loved that spaces, and I love doing them. And I kind of wish there were more. I wish there were more spaces, because when you're just hanging out, it's great to hear people talk, kind of long form conversations. So anyway, that's what that was. I'm Big Cheds on Twitter. You know that. My book's available on Amazon, Trading Wisdom. You can get it for free on my YouTube. Check out the playlists. Tons of great videos, tons of free stuff. I really would encourage you to kind of get lost. Just get lost in the videos. If that's what you're trying to do, you're trying to learn how to trade. So check that out. And really, I really want to encourage you to check out Bitcoin Live, where I'm a founding analyst. For 4 years, I've been doing market reports twice a week. I stop and examine the market, answer all questions, look at altcoin requests, and really just keep practicing. And I do it no matter what. I'm on vacation, I'm sick, I don't miss an update. And just one guy on a great team, really proud to be part of Bitcoin Live. So if you really want to take it seriously, it's something I stand behind 100%. Anyway, thank you, folks. I hope everybody's doing okay out there. I just did a YouTube stream recently. Let's see if it's in this playlist. Market moves explained 8.4. I haven't put in this playlist, but it's here. I just did a YouTube stream a few days ago on 8/11, so check that out. Anyway, folks, thank you so much. I will be talking to you soon. Big Cheds out.